Better late than never. And the early bird always catches the worm. Whatever. Let's get going.
There are some weeks on YouTube where, as a content commentator, I feel as though, what am I going to do? There are dry spells where there doesn't seem to be any new uploads coming out of the likes, anything interesting coming from Alfred Lambert Weber, or the positive side of 2012.
Anytime we're talking about David Wilcock,
the Goldfish Report, or Miles Johnston, or Terry Cassidy. Sometimes things go quiet, but then, when it rains, it pours. So over the course of the weekend, I saw an upload to Twitter, a tweet on Twitter, that provided for me a great opportunity. I said, this is a teachable moment. This is something that we can talk about. I slammed our journalist when we were talking about his coverage, or his recent interview with famed political desperado and criminal, now convicted criminal, Roger Stone. It provided an opportunity to not only analyze Roger Stone, but to also talk about dark journalists and the fact that this guy, whatever side the butter, whatever side the bread is buttered, that's where this young man will go. And he's gone full, everything but QAnon. He's gone full Trump support, a full Richard Milhouse Nixon apologist. The reason I bring that up is that, when we started doing these sort of videos in 2015, it seemed as though there was a little bit of a consensus that there were two aspects of ufology / conspiracy / watching the skies world. That there were people that were legitimate researchers who had, were just about the nuts and bolts truth of trying to get to the bottom of the secret space program, trying to get to the nuts and bolts of what was happening with this UFO phenomenon, coming at it from different angles, but, learned, scholarly, technical, not interested in channeled messages, not interested in the Space Brothers or trying to make contact with the Orion Council, but just interested in the who, what, when, where, and how of the story. And they were set up as, as opposition to the David Wilcock, Corey Good, Darrell Ankus Bashar, cosmic consciousness modality people, the David Ikes and the interdimensional shape-shifting lizard people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the accusation from the scientifically oriented community seemed to be, it's hard enough to do what we have to do here with the mock and ridicule, gaslighting, and cover-ups of mainstream media colluding with government. We have to deal with these jokers making a mockery of the whole field. Over time, I have come to the realization, and I'm not speaking, this is not, no one can make a statement about everyone who is interested in UFOs, everyone who's interested in the phenomena, right? Without overgeneralizing or committing a crime as silly as racism, right? Overgeneralizing to the point of ridicule. Having said that, I have come to the belief that a lot of the people that we were, as a community, kind of thinking of as being the learned scientific set, really are not in any way, real shape, or form different than the other crew. And when it comes down to it, I'm going to speak specifically about one little coterie of people. And I've got personal connections that are manifest to lesser or greater or lesser extent with this little group of people I'm going to talk about. And it's pertinent. It feeds into David Wilcock. It's more of an intro and aside to what people thought that I might be talking about tonight, that I will be having to talk about at a later time. And that's a group of people that flock together all the time. Okay, they're interpersonal friends. They have interpersonal relationships with each other. What I'm going to say is, the jury's out on one of them, Richard Dolan. The jury's still out on Richard Dolan as far as I'm concerned about the legitimacy of his research and what have you. But the other two, especially the three, I'm going to throw out there and throw right under the bus. Okay, it's Dr. Joseph P. Farrell, it's Catherine Austin Fitz, and it's Linda Moulton. Okay, I'm sure they're great, personable people. I'm sure they're nice people. But what happened over the weekend was that dark journalist tweeted out an article by Catherine Austin Fitz. And the tweet by dark journalist summarized it basically as saying that Catherine Austin Fitz was telling the truth about the nanotechnology delivery system that is vaccination protocol. Okay? And with that, I said, and I looked at the article as written by Catherine Austin Fitz. I did not go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I did not take notes, but I noted to save it, save it as a PDF on my phone, computer, or what have you, to come back and do a deep analysis later, because I can tell you, the notion and the argument that there's any daylight between the foolishness of David Wilcock, Mendoza, Alfred Lambert Weber, Patty Greer, what's her name? Eisenhower. What's her name? Liza? Laura Eisenhower, Captain Randy Kramer, and the Catherine Austin Fitzes of the world is ridiculous. So the same thing with Dr. Joseph P. Farrell. Dr. Joseph P. Farrell can, under certain circumstances, make this delineation and say, not everything that I write about, I believe. I've been tuned in and watching his news and views from the Nefarium since Christ was a child. Since he's been doing those programs, I've been watching them. So I'm going to say it's a foolish philosophical distinction or argument that he's raising. He clearly believes batshit crazy stuff about ancient aliens, Jesus, okay, Putin, the Orthodox Church. This guy thought that there was a nuclear weapon that was being stuck into the friggin' Biscayne Bay or some shit. He's a lunatic too. God bless him. And I will go back and remind myself that when I started reading Dr. Joseph P. Farrell, when he was being published by Adventures Unlimited Press, I followed him as I did everything that I read from Adventures Unlimited Press, David Hatcher Childress, etc., as a larf, as a joke, isn't it crazy what people say and think? It is nuts. Remember, his doctorate is in theology, not history, epidemiology, or any hard science, okay? He thinks that 12-tone music and avant-garde abstract art was invented by the CIA to fuck with the minds of America's youth. If I'm lying, and destroy the all-American household along with the Fabian Society. If I'm lying, I'm dying. It is what it is. And what do I say about personal relationships? I've bantered back and forth with Dr. Joseph P. Farrell on Walter Bosley's live chat. Walter Bosley loves Dr. Joseph P. Farrell. God bless him. God bless him. Hey, God bless Dr. Joseph P. Farrell. I'm not saying he's a bad man. I'm not saying he should, burn in hell for 1,000 eternities. But I am saying the notion that this guy is a learned scholar and bringing something different to the table than a lot of the other, Jamohos and Yahoos and Funk Dunks we talk about on the other side is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the last people standing is Richard Dolan. But Richard Dolan has the same problem that Stanton Friedman had. What was the problem that Stanton Friedman had? Stanton Friedman knew that all this nonsense with the Orion Council and ancient aliens and all this stuff was bullshit. But he hung out all the time at the conference, with the drinks, with the partying, with Linda Moulton Howe and everything. So now he's friends with Linda Moulton Howe at the end. So she just gets a pass. And people act as though she's a learned scholar, even though all of her soliloquies that she's ever given at any of these conferences all started the same way. Here's a legitimate sighting. Here's a mysterious statement by an actual government insider whose bona fides and credentials we can prove. Here's something else that's interesting. And by the time you get to the end of her lecture, if I'm lying, I'm dying, every fucking time. It's the people in the know. It's just like Alex Jones' last appearance on Joe Rogan. The people in the know who really know the following: that there's a secret space society out there, and they talk to us, and we're going to join their galactic civilization, and they're waiting for us. And Gnosis, and the big electron that pulses at the center of the universe, interconnecting all life. And after this death, we're going to be reincarnated on the next level. She's out there. Every Linda Moulton Howe lecture for the last 15, 20 years, if I'm lying, I'm dying, ends up Heaven's Gate style. You don't believe me? Go ahead and watch any of her conference appearances that are preserved on YouTube. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Science. Interesting. Science. Conspiracy. Space Brothers Ascension, 5D, Rainbow Light Bodies. If I'm lying, I'm motherfucking dying. So fuck those Hey, it is what it is. We're not covering Catherine Austin Fitz today. We're covering David Wilcock, 531, Cosmic Pep Talk and Global Peace Meditation. This is going to be part one of our analysis because I did not watch this full video. I'm breaking it up into chunks. The first thing I want to discuss about David Wilcock's video is something we've discussed about many David Wilcock videos. The views. The number of posted views and interaction that are there. They're bullshit. Okay? There's no way in hell that they're true. If the views that he is purporting to have, okay, that the ticker is indicating were true, you have to know and understand that David Wilcock is doing Joe Rogan numbers. Spotify just gave Joe Rogan an undisclosed annual contract for what's purported to be $100 million to bring his podcast exclusively to Spotify. Joe Rogan's podcast is without a doubt, numerically, the largest podcast in the world. Prior to his ascent, the largest podcast in the world was the What the Fuck podcast, the WTF podcast, run by one Mike Maron. Mike Maron, at the height of his career, because it went downhill after a certain point, had President Barack Obama on as a guest. The WTF podcast was famously filmed in Mike Maron's actual garage, where the president, Barack Obama, showed up one day to rap for about an hour and a half, 2 hours with the man. Okay? That launched Mike Maron into side deals with PBS. That video, the WTF podcast, the appearance by Barack Obama, got Mark Maron covered by mainstream media. We all know how many times people, Mark Maron. Sorry, I apologize. What do you going, Mike? Mark Maron. The next person that's the largest podcast in the world is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. David Wilcock is claiming to be doing Joe Rogan numbers. And when I say Wilcock is claiming, I'm not saying that he's saying I'm doing as many numbers as Joe Rogan. I'm saying look at these video views and understand that these are the video views that you would see on a Joe Rogan clip or podcast on YouTube. Do people talk about David Wilcock getting offers or deals to go exclusive on iTunes, YouTube, Mixer, Spotify, or Twitch? No, of course you don't. Why? Because there's no way he's doing these fucking numbers. There's so much daylight between the prominence culturally of David Wilcock and the prominence culturally of Joe Rogan and Mark Maron that you can know and understand that these numbers are bullshit. They're botted views. Okay, so here let me go through some numbers here. So right after his video ended on Sunday night, David Wilcock video appeared to have just under 60,000 views. That is 58,000 to 60,000 people watching it while it was live. This was right after the broadcast where it had about 6,000 upvotes, and I unfortunately did not make a note of the number of comments. Today, that video is up to 116,027 views 8.9 thousand upvotes and 1,319 comments. These numbers are impossible to believe because David Wilcock is appreciably different in cultural impact to Joe Rogan or Philip DeFranco or any of these other people. There's no way that he's doing these numbers. And I also want to point out, remember, we have already seen the thumbprint of bots. During one of his pandemic broadcasts that we covered, there was a breakdown in the system. It's just like a glitch in the matrix, right? Oh, could have sworn I saw that cat twice. Did you see that cat twice? Or like a cat that could have been that cat? No, I saw the exact same cat twice. Holy shit, glitch in the matrix. During the live chat of one of his videos, there was a breakdown. And all of a sudden you saw MAGA and where we go all and pro-Q Trump, pro-Trump, pro-Q live chat statements being made by faceless, avatarless accounts, but the accounts all went porno. Kelly, this happened, right? It was like, tell me you like it. I love Big D. Big D. Check out my private room, 6969. There was a breakdown, and then all of a sudden it went back to normal. We saw it. You can still see it. It's there. That's thumbprint of bots. He's a known associate of the Epoch Times New Tang Dynasty publishing company who pushed him on their Edge of Wonder, puppet channel. So there we go. There's no way. David Wilcock, here's the thing. Here's the thing with bot views. Fake it till you make it. If you have the fake views, eventually the fake views are going to turn into real views. You're going to get, it used to be that if you did that, you would go up in the algorithm, you get more exposure, and then you could actually pick up some actual decent views. But now it's just astroturfing. It's just pay to play. It's bulk buying of books in order to get on the New York Times bestseller list. It's bulk buying of views and comments on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube in order to push yourself up to make it look. If people see that you're a big deal, they'll treat you like a big deal. Doors will open. You'll get interviewed. More people will be attracted to you like moths to a flame. Success, or the illusion of success, begets success. But here's the dirty little secret. That doesn't actually work. All of those marketers who say fake it till you make it, you got to spend money to make money, all of those people end up burning themselves out and overspending and spending themselves into the poorhouse. Okay? It's unsustainable. There's no point in doing it. The numbers for C.W. Chanter actually indicate what the actual size of this community is. And you don't just have to look at C.W. Chanter. Look at anyone. You can look at all the other people who are not using bots. Look at C.W. Chanter. Look at Randy Morgans. Look at Alfred Lamar Weber. You'll see. Look at Miles Johnson, who I don't think bots himself out incredibly. You'll see. It's a couple of thousands of people worldwide. That's it. There's no 125,000 people showing up for David Wilcock. And wait till you see where the views go. Let's see where the views actually go. I'm calling bullshit. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I think I am right on the money. So this cosmic tech talk is his non-confrontational response to all this sadness happening in America. This is obviously the riots that are happening in many major U.S. cities. After the death of another unarmed black man by a psychotic cop. So David Wilcock says watching this assault and this death was traumatizing for him, but he wants to argue that violence does not solve violence. This is going to be a motif that we see forming throughout this beginning stage of the video, that the death is terrible and we should protest. We should protest. But this rioting and violence, it serves no purpose. And I want to do a sidebar here, okay? Because here's what you need to understand, okay? Non-people of color. You can tell people to be nonviolent and to not engage in violent protests all you want to. The Rodney King assault was over 25 years ago. And then you had the death of several other black men just a couple of years ago. leading to movements like Black Lives Matter. And here we are, after all of this re-education of police officers was supposed to have taken place. After all of this, we hear your message and we understand where you're coming from. Or Colin Kaepernick is a bullshit liar because he makes a lot of money as a football player. So why the fuck is he fucking up our Pledge of Allegiance? America's fantastically great. If you're a white person, no offense.
And this really is borne out in all the production data from British Petroleum. And British Petroleum.
So the notion, and I've heard this hot take not only spoke by David Wilcock, but people that I one time considered friends coming out online and acting like, why are they rioting? Why are they burning things down? Rioting is so stupid. Burning things down is terrible. You have no idea what it's like to live under certain conditions. You don't.
It's never happened before in the history.
You don't know what it's like to be live under U.S. carpet bombing in Vietnam or Laos
That doesn't mean that we've completely run out of oil.
or Iran or
It
Iraq
just means that we've reached the
or
end of the
Afghanistan.
energy peak.
You don't know.
We find that oil prices
You know what
are
the largest prison population in the world is? It's not China. We want to talk all about the human rights violations in China, the human rights violations in China. The amount of American citizens imprisoned in America is ridiculous. And many of them are employed. Did you know that one of the biggest federal prisons in America is called Angola? You know why it's called Angola? Because prior to being a prison where people work for less than minimum wage nowadays, it was a plantation where the vast majority of the African slaves there were from Angola. They were from Angola, so they called it Angola. And guess what? Slavery may have been made illegal, but there's still hundreds of thousands of black men working for less than minimum wage with no opportunity to get out. That's my soapbox. That's my soapbox moment. Forgive me for taking it. You do not have to agree with me. You do not have to agree with me. Laney Libertine says, or U.S. sanctions in Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, etc. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So anyway, violence is not violence. Okay. People are concerned about the he comes out then and says that people are concerned about his concept of the alliance. And then we just get, the footnote on the alliance. It's an international effort that's been around since the 1950s, trying to alleviate suffering and to fight for the release of secret technology for the benefit of all mankind. Then he goes on to talk about the ordeal. David Wilcock is the king of the non sequitur. So even trying to hold these things together, I'm trying to bridge gaps, but I run the risk of making his case for him. He doesn't bridge the gap. People are concerned about his concept of the alliance, but that he repeats that the alliance is an international effort in existence since the 1950s, trying to fight for the release of secret technology and fight to alleviate suffering. And then this ordeal is happening with the economy gets stricken down by the virus and everyone has to wear these masks. Why is this happening, he says. And then he goes, just as things are opening up and people are acting and driving nicer, if I'm lying, I'm dying. He seems to think that because him and his wife, when they walk their dogs, are not encountering the same kind of menacing problems with motorists. Apparently, before the pandemic, motorists were really jerky to him, almost as if they knew, hey, that guy's David Wilcock. And their wives had to say, we have so much to live for. I know it's tempting, but don't hit him with your car. He says that since this pandemic, since people are literally starting to come back out and take their masks off, they're driving and acting nicer. What kind of empirical evidence is this? This guy's like a power schmoo. It's not even funny. Then he alludes to Q. Don't worry, the highlights are coming up. This guy's going to tell us disinformation and lies. And then he's going to tell us at some point in the first 42 minutes of this video, my friends, David Wilcock is going to identify himself as a law enforcement officer in the cyber domain. If I'm lying, I'm dying. According to David Wilcock, David Wilcock considers himself, he empathizes so much with the cops, even though he hates the cop that killed the guy. I hate you, but I can empathize and love the boys in blue in law enforcement because I myself, David Wilcock, consider myself a law enforcement officer in the cyber domain. I can't make this shit up. He's dumb enough to say it, and he did. Why is this happening? This is things are opening up, and then then he alludes to Q. He goes, I'm not going to say the letter, but I'm thinking of the letter between T and R. Wink, wink, nod, nod, say no more, say no more. He alludes to Q, and he says that Q has given us huge number of briefings lately, and Q has never wavered in their confidence. Q is always wrong. Q is always wrong. There's going to be a global currency reset, according to Reset. Now, here you go. I want to pause right here. Sometimes people clip portions of my show. If anyone wants to clip a portion of my show, let me pause right here and give you a setup. In his current video, David Wilcock, 531, Cosmic Pep Talk, and Global Peace Meditation, David Wilcock says some things that are absolutely erroneous. They're absolutely untrue. He says that there's going to be a global currency reset. The global currency reset, often accompanied by terms like NSARA or GSARA, has been a myth in the conspiracy community, the New Age community, since the late 80s. This notion that people behind the scenes, anti-Illuminati, anti-Cabal forces behind the scenes, are working to make all the poor people rich people. Everyone's going to get huge amounts of money. They're working on systems to make sure that good guys who will spend the money positively are going to get all this money. And there are many people who have had successful websites that have just, there was a guy, I think his name was Sheldon Nigel, was pushing it. The White Dragon and Red Dragon societies were part and parcel of this global currency reset. We hear the White Dragon ambassador, the Red Dragon ambassador, and Benjamin Fulford talk about this mythology. Drake Bailey, a former associate of David Wilcock, used to talk about it all the time. And I noticed an uptick in conversation about it happening on the Super Soldier channels. It seems to go hand in hand. So David Wilcock is about to say something that's 100% untrue about and in support of this global currency reset philosophy. He says there's going to be a global currency reset where people have great prosperity due to the actions of the alliance. And he goes, it's really kind of already happening because unemployment benefits now are 138% greater than they used to be. They're greater than usual now. He makes a statement that seems to be translatable as people are making more money now on unemployment than they did when they were employed. And he's taking this as evidence of the success or the legitimacy of the global currency reset. He then goes on to say that it's easier now than ever to get on unemployment benefit rolls. At 9 minutes and 24 seconds, he says, most Americans are getting more than what they were making before. And I just need to say here that this is absolutely untrue. It is 100% false. It is harder than ever to get on the unemployment rolls. People are falsely being kicked off the unemployment rolls, and there's many arguments to make that Republican governments and governors are urging this reopening of the American society against these draconian Japanese internment camp-like social distancing rules because they know that their systems can't handle the burden of everyone applying for unemployment benefits. By saying that the economy, that by taking down the lockdown orders, you can then say to employees who are saying, I'm not going to go back and work at that restaurant because I don't want to die of COVID-19. The employer and the unemployment bureau can then say, no, when the lockdown is over, so if you don't go back to work, even if it's because you say you don't want to die of a disease, you can't collect unemployment. Those are the facts. Those are the facts, not this brouhaha being sold by David Wilcock. I also say, oh yeah, I already said this, but I'm going to say it again. People are actually being kicked off the rolls, plus Republican governors are actually rigging reopening to prevent many from claiming benefits. The notion that it's easier now than ever means that David Wilcock is reporting information that is considered false, not only to CNN, not only to MSNBC, but also to Fox News and Fox Business Channel. It is absolutely erroneous and disgusting for him to suggest that the global currency reset is real because people are getting oodles and oodles of unemployment money. It also creates this illusion that people that get unemployment money are on some sort of fantastic easy street. It's amazing. I don't go to work and I get paid to do nothing. Isn't unemployment fantastic? Such a lie. And then I have a sidebar here that I just want to point out because I don't want this to take too long, but I have to say this. Here's the reality in juxtaposition to David Wilcock's crap. Now, here's the thing. You catch more flies with bullshit than you do with truth and honesty, right? You try to give people truth and honesty on YouTube like CW Chanter does. I'm trying to give people castor oil, right? I'm trying to get kids to take their medicine. Nobody wants it. David Wilcock is giving you honeydew melon. He's giving you snack cakes. He's telling you that you can have sugar three times a day as your main meal. Drink soda pop and pop rocks at the same time. You're going to be fine. He's telling us, and so guess who's more popular? Guess who has more little kids in their white panel van? David Wilcock. But the reality of the situation is this. There is no global currency reset. The global currency reset is only believed in by buffoons who don't understand economics. They don't. And David Wilcock doesn't understand economics, but you can look at my other videos for a more detailed analysis. We can't do everything all the time. 40% of Americans earning less than $40,000 a year lost their jobs due to COVID-19. So the unemployment rate in America is 25% as of the making of this video, amongst everyone together. For people making less than $40,000 a year, have fun trying to live on $40,000 a year. 40% of those people are earning less than 40. 40% of those people have lost their jobs. You think they're going back to work? I point out this. The vast majority of the American economy is driven by consumer spending. So it is illogical to believe that the cabal or the Illuminati caused this economic breakdown or caused this virus that caused this economic breakdown, because the Illuminati and the cabal are always, in all of our popular mythology about the subject, are defined as being the top of the capitalist pyramid. The owners, right? The oligarchs, the millionaires, the billionaires. If this cabal and Illuminati model is true, then this notion of it being illogical that they actually caused the breakdown of this whole economic system is especially true if you subtract the mythical element of it. They're not getting together and drinking adrenochrome and killing babies for Satan. They're just money-driven maniacs. They're those in power trying to maintain their hegemony over power. Then why would they ever want to cause this destruction? If you take these things together and you think about it logically, I dare say, it proves the magnitude of the situation. That if the buyers, if the owners, if the manufacturers, if the politicians were going to allow these strictures to be put in place of social distancing, of stay-at-home orders, given the obvious economic impact of those acts, indicates just how much the people in power truly know and understand. Carol Utley donated $3. God bless you, Carol Utley, for your continued financial support. God bless you, God bless you for your continued financial support, I say. Carol Utley is like the Illuminati of the CW Chanter audience. Her Lindsay, always give it. This proves the magnitude of the situation. The powers that be know that the virus is real, know what the fatality rates are, and are acting accordingly. Then I also have these side notes: automation, the shift towards more and more automation, the shift towards people working with skeleton crews like banks and restaurants and food delivery services. The continued reliance upon David Bucky donated $5. Kelly, how do we get CW to do an analysis of a DW book. They're ridiculous. That's a lot of time and effort put into one endeavor. I don't know. We'll see. But I see you, David Bucky. Thank you so much. Do you think that it's going to go back to normal? Do you think the economic system is going to go back to normal? Do you think that banks who have now learned that they can have one teller for a drive-through instead of a full robust staff? Do you think a restaurant, seeing what they could do just doing food delivery, are going to say to themselves, gee, I can't wait to get some unhappy customers back in here to give us all of a hard time so I can have to pay for waitresses, wait staff, and increased cooking staff? How about automation? You think that those jobs that are coming back that have been replaced more and more, or the argument for replacing them with automation has been made more than ever? And I go, no, to those people who are going to argue that Trump came from God or from the Orion Council or whatever to solve these problems. Look at where he came from. Look at the people he associates with. Look at the people that he puts in power around him. Moneyed oligarchs, moneyed millionaire baby, trust fund babies, and you will see that you can see through this illusion in a heartbeat. Aiken Drum with a donation of $2. Better than Zimbabwean dollars. Just, there you go. How the global currency reset, sidebar again. Let's see if I can do this with, I think we got plenty of time. Okay, so this is how the global currency reset scam works. And you can see there's a guy called, what's his name? Tim Emsell, who's oftentimes on the Goldfish Report with Louisa, who's way into the global currency reset illusion. As is James Rank over at Super Soldier Talk is now starting to talk about NSARA and GSARA, the global currency reset, more than ever. So here's what they tell you to do, and it's a scam. So what it's done is it's run by people who want to sell you foreign currency. And what they tell you is that this foreign currency you can get really cheap, like the Vietnamese dong and the Zimbabwe, I forget what the Zimbabwe thing is called. And then it's also the dinar. It's the Iraqi dinar. And what it is and what it is that you're going to invest in this depreciated currency. You know, you can get like 10,000 Vietnamese dong for $1 or whatever. Something. They call it a Zimbabwe dollar. I thought it was called it's called the global currency reset. People call it Zim. And what they tell you is you buy $100 worth of Zim, right? So you take 100 American dollars, and they tell you, oh, you got to turn it into Zim. And guess what? A lot of these people are willing to do it for you. I'm not saying any of the people that I named. I think these people just don't get economics. But the people that actually make their money running the scam websites, they'll sell you $100 worth of Zim. They'll give us $100. Invest in Zim. Put all your money in Iraqi dinars. And the theory is just like Bitcoin. One dinar today, one Zimbabwe dollar today, tomorrow is going to be worth $1 bajillion because the global currency reset involves taking several of these currencies in these various baskets. They always talk about the various economic currency baskets and flipping. The US dollar is going to be taking the place of the Zimbabwe dollar, and the Zimbabwe dollar is going to be worth, it's going to be like the new US dollar. It's bullshit. It's just total bullshit. It's like one of the biggest scams that have been going on since Christ was a child. And it's nonsense. But David Wilcock is still fronting on it. But like I said, I hope you didn't lose the fact. Let's remember, David Wilcock said that the unemployment benefits now are 138% greater than they were. It's easier than ever to get on the unemployment rolls, and people are making more money now than they were before. Those are all lies. David Wilcock is a filthy fucking liar. Mark Arrington with a donation of $25. Glad to hear someone telling the truth and not afraid to do so. Restores my faith. Hold on. This is what always happens. I always tell people that come in and start supporting me, I tell you, don't worry. One of these days, probably a week from now, I'll say something you don't like. I'm kidding. I love you. I love you. Thank you. God bless you guys. Bless you for donating. It really does help. I'm being sued by these jackasses. Okay? So there you go. Oh, Rizom. Rizom's got some information, as he usually does. Wait, where'd it go? Back in the early 2000s, the Nasera scam was being pushed by this lady named Dove of Oneness in the New Age channeling world. There were some good articles at the time debunking the scam. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Stone Grunt says you can rent a 8x10 bedroom, no closet space for $1,200 a month in Jersey. I wish that were true. Depends where in Jersey you go. I don't know whether I was looking for a different quote to actually to highlight. Oh no! Sorry, there was another quote I wanted to get.
$60 trillion, which was the value.
Okay, sorry. Where was it?
So what you're seeing is there's a massive
Hey, Drum, CW. The CW thinks Christ wants an actual trial. Don't make me quote the amazing movie. What was it? The one where that dude from Saturday Night Live was a race car driver. Yeah, Will Ferrell. Out of Mind says you can get trillions of Zim for about $50 US. That's the scam. They sell you trillions of dollars of Zim for $50. God bless you. You can't pray to Jesus. You died, baby Jesus. You died a grown man. This is my house. This is my house, and I pray to who I want. Right? Great moment. The kids don't respect anybody. And that guy that plays the angry grandfather, I think he played Blue in, what was the one? It wasn't Back to School where they go back to do a Pratt. It's Will Ferrell. It's, old school. You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. And believe you me. Oh my gosh. Here we go. La da da. Now, where am I? So there you go. So he's lying. It's harder than ever to get on the unemployment benefits rolls. Not easier. He basically says that he's got a haircut. He's one of these jabronis. He thinks it's a big deal to protest the lockdown by going out and getting a haircut. And the hairstylist that was treating him said that her friend, who hadn't paid taxes in 6 years, had to fill out one form, pay $600, and now is getting $2,000 a month. And David Wilcock reports this as news because David Wilcock is a schmuck. Anyway, 13 minutes and 45 seconds, he goes into his philosophy of protesting. He's reading a lot of articles, and he's going to be writing an article himself. And don't worry, his article is going to be full of citations, so you can look up the stuff yourself. That's his thing. Citations. I'm David Wilcock. You can't say that I'm bullshit because I cite to thousands of scholarly articles in my bullshit book that makes up shit. That's his thing. He's reading a lot of articles. They're creating new acts of violence in response to violence is bad. And I just want to say that these are the sort of simplistic arguments that you get from David Wilcock. I also want to point out that I have ratification. There's a mental health professional, psychiatrist, who has a YouTube channel. I forget his name, but he did an analysis of Teal Swan. And she claims to have 170 IQ. Or no, she claims to have 170 IQ. And he pointed out the fact that, David Wilcock claims to have 180 IQ. Anything above this, 130 or something, is make-believe. It's there's no real way to assess it. The Mensa, everyone who does use IQ testing says that everything above 130 is basically theoretical, and you're kind of out there going, they're so amazing, they could jump over the moon. There's no real way to assess what that stuff is. Other than, Stephen Hawking is purported. Basically, so if a person is claiming to have a 170 to 180 IQ, they're claiming to be smarter than Einstein. So David Wilcock claims to be smarter than Einstein. I also want to point out that the fact that he's willing to claim that, and so is Teal Swan, indicates that claiming this sort of intelligence really isn't a sign of intelligence so much as it is a possible real red flag to ultra egomania and narcissism. Not that I'm making any diagnosis here. It's not within my wheelhouse, so I don't know what to do. C. Gomez with a donation of $1.99. Dr. Granda Did the Teal, Dr. Grande did the Teal Swan analysis? Yes, he did. That's the guy I'm thinking of. That's a good video, and I was going to cover that too until David Wilcock decided to drop this bomb on us. It's the simplistic argument regarding the judgment of rioters to say that they're out of place or it shouldn't happen or they shouldn't do it this way or they shouldn't do it that way. There's an old expression, you know, until you walked a mile in a man's shoes, you probably shouldn't speak about these things. The actual socioeconomic conditions that people are living with in the inner city, to say nothing of the constant threat of politically sanctioned violence in the form of the police. I don't think it's our place to judge in our suburban homes and environments what people should or shouldn't do, or how they should respond under certain circumstances when a lot of these protestings, you know, are peaceful. And then also there's a lot of allegations that the violence was triggered and the rioting was triggered by operatives. No, not operatives from Antifa. No, not operatives from the Proud Boys. The fucking cops. Alex Jones used to talk about this all the time. This was a known and established thing that people noticed, people had known about since the 60s, and people could actually demonstrate happened during the so-called Battle of Seattle. The notion that the FBI and the CIA placed trained operatives in the midst of infiltrated peaceful organizations to inspire them to acts of violence, to have an excuse to crack down on the acts of violence. It's a known fact that the FBI utilizes this sort of reactionary counterterrorism protocols all the time, infiltrating not only Antifa, but as well as infiltrating and promoting violence among neo-Nazi skinheads, as well as, who am I thinking of? Earth First. This is a great documentary about that. Anyway, there's creating we need to allow. This is David Wilcock speaking. Instead of rioting or instead of protesting, because like I said, the violence that's being committed, we can't trust anything that you see or hear on TV. You can't. You don't know what's going on. He goes, David Wilcock speaking, says we need to allow. There's an international police force to get those who are trying to create the problem, whoever they may be. And then he acknowledges kind of there that there's a conspiracy about who actually caused the violence. $2 donation by Philip Blair. People are blaming South Jersey women, SJWs for everything. Should we be worried? Have you been to this?
And that they're being driven by this ideology of neoliberal capitalism. This is also
what happened, Big Mouth?
That the overarching assumption
Oh, he's spinning on his channel. Interesting. They're trying to throw that super chat up to try to grab money again. I'm rejecting that. MJ Sedona says, lost you, frozen. So that means it's not just my chat or my channel or my computer. They're calling it a buffer. They're blaming South Jersey women for everything. Well, that's because Channer is who should be blamed for everything. And they're tagged a glitch. We just had a bright white light flash. Screen is black except for the chat. Well, I can see his face. So we've got two different things. Michelle Embry says he is dangerous at this point with that nonsense. Jed Petty says reload. Super V Fun Cat says because he was saying CIA over and over. It paused a few seconds. Alfie Solomons is holding on to his panties. And you know, anytime they talk about no panties on the dance floor, they're talking about my story. Everything is kicking back up. They're adding the Divine Cosmos channel, HTTPS. Everything's back to normal for anybody that's refreshed, which my hands are occupied. We're reading here. The screen is still black, even after Jet Petty refreshed. The sound is garbled. Sterling Bruno says First Amendment right. Alfie says, can he let go of his panties? Jed Petty's leaving. Philip says he's back. David Bucky says it's Wilcox cyber assaulting CW cop style and laughs. No, it's not. It's the third party evaluators shutting him the fuck down. He's doing hate speech on me. Michelle says, stop that, CW, and laughs. Alfie is losing a grip on his panties. That's because the chat can hear me. Certain ones can. And Channer and Kelly know I'm here through my frequency signature that they pick up. And they get all the intel I put out. Ryan Morphy Richards says, bit of black luck there. And MJ Sedona's going to check back. All other windows work and internet is okay. Except for here. And he says it's dark. Philip is sorry he broke the feed. See, Channer used to run his own show on his own merit. But now Kelly runs it, and so do his wrenches, because he doesn't have the ability to live stream anymore on his own channel, which is embarrassing. Alfie says Star Wars is a documentary and he is a cyber Jedi. Dave is a cyber sheriff, is what Ryan says. Jet Petty says MJ Sedona close out and go back through CW's channel to go on the live. Super V Fun Cat. It is not a felony to impersonate law enforcement. I didn't hear him say like a. Alfie Solomons is making all sorts of weird noises. He's saying it's the cyber police. Divine Tactics says Dwight was a legal sheriff deputy. The Don Craze Face. I knew you would mention the law enforcement line. Nice. Assurance to the manager, says Philip. And Ryan says he wants to get deputized if he could. Ezekiel Osiris says, keep fighting the deadly QAnon state propaganda. Every conservative boomer I know is drinking the QAnon Kool-Aid. Ezekiel Osiris thanks Six's Designs. They're talking about what's cracking. Oh, Sterling says hand agitation, lots of practice. Right. Sasquatch informed Alfie. Protests in 50 states coming from out of state 50 times over. Exactly, Philip. That's because your friends here are agitating their people to go out and stir up war. They're paid protesters. I can't believe you don't know. Ryan says 10cc rubber bullets. Good tune. No, they're talking about cops having rubber bullets. Michelle Embry, Ezekiel, sorry for your wounds. Glad you are good. Glad you're out there. We have an HTTPS out of Wikipedia, which I never use, for the FBI's cyber division. Michelle says DW is so bad, OMG. Rhizome says this is called propaganda. Well, that's not what I call it. I've been trying to make a citizen's arrest on CW Channer for harassing me and sexually abusing me through cyber warfare for the last 4 years, so it's not propaganda. I'm a cop's kid. And my dad taught me not to take it from assholes. Let's see, Mark says the letter between P and R. He doesn't want his channel taken down like the other David. Oh, you mean WILCOX? And they've been impersonating and screwing up real people. Right, tag it. Michelle says anti-fascism is an ideology, not an organization. Wasn't she philosophical? Alfie says it's interesting wordplay. Tag philosophical. The letter between P and R, public relations. Jill's laughing about the legal fund.
that due to our rabid overdependence
Ezekiel Osiris says if anything the cartel cabal cult is doing to keep him in office by suspending elections. Michelle says he has to keep up his pandering with his rich boomer freaks. Alfie says, Gandhi, who said? Hey, ladies. Here we go. Ezekiel Osiris. There could be a staged assassination. Well, they've been taking out their hits on me for several years now, but it was said hands offer. So that's where that comes in. Michelle says, ha ha, it's more like, hey, little girl. Bye, yeah. Ryan says, anyone with specs are up to no good. Jill D said, I almost watched Wilcox's video, but then I knew CW would do the breakdown, so why bother? As she laughs. Michelle, oh, staged assassination. Oh, reality TV guy would do that. Oh, but they want a female Michelle. Let's see. Ezekiel says Alex Jones is rolling around LA in an armored InfoWar truck. Alfie Solomon says Michelle Embry just goes to show you how weak us males are. You never see powerful ladies being taken down by an obsession with men. Well, that's what they say, is I'm obsessed with these men, and that I was CW's booty call, and that came from men saying that. So you get obsession, especially of old bitches like me that aren't worth a shit. Ezekiel says, what does that tell you, folks? Ryan says you can yank, not grab DW and have a wee word in his ear. You think, Ryan? Michelle says all things are happening, but it's not a George Soros play. You object too much. Tag Ferguson. Cosmic Gypsy says DW wife just hit thumbs down. Isn't that interesting? How do they know who hits the thumbs down? I haven't hit a thumbs down yet, so if I'm that alleged wife, it's not me. There's always idiot outliers, says Jet. Cosmic Gypsy, she karate chopped it, said Alfie. Jet Petty says to any group. Oh, Michelle's back to Alex. Alex Jones is definitely making theater. Jet says everybody's beautiful. Give him a thumbs up. Ryan says Rodney King was just jiving. Interesting. Let's see if we can get the assholes back up.
Oh, and then you're going to come back and you're going to say to CW Chanther something like, yeah, but it's still true that rioting is fucked up. Okay. You still retweeted something without paying enough attention to it. And I'm not, and do you think that I ever did that? Hell yeah, I've probably done that. Which is why I tell people all the time.
Definitely, not
just
probably.
Don't just go down liking everything. Don't just go down retweeting after you took a look at 3 seconds of video. Because you're going to get with your ass, you're going to get caught with your ass hanging out. And what is the point of the meta lesson? That these people design these social media accounts to trick you, to infiltrate, to fool you, to fuck it up. Ezekiel Osiris says InfoWars flunkies caught burning the homeless man's belongings in Austin to blame protesters. Believe it in a heartbeat. Does that mean that all Alex Jones supporters are douchebags? No. It means that, man, I don't get involved in riots. When shit starts, whenever I see large groups of humans accumulating
people are
and hanging
involved
around, you know what
behind the scenes in the riots that
shit's
happened
about to
in
get fucked up,
Ferguson
and I'm out of here.
in
You know, I like
2014.
whether
They
it's
have
a
been
radio
on me
or a party
since
or a
before
concert.
that.
I like club shows, and when the club show gets like 2-pack, it's not because I want to be too cool for school that I can't hang out. There's a lot of people there. I just don't want to know because I know something's going to fucking pop off.
Oh,
And the
it's gonna
minute I'm
pop
in an
off,
urban
tell me.
environment and shit starts getting real, I get the fuck out of there. I'll protest at home. I'll
You
let
fucking
it cancel.
contagious motherfucker.
That's just me.
You better not go
David
outside.
Wilcox
They'll
asked,
shoot your
who
ass up.
funds Antifa? Who's trying to run or win the election?
I never even knew who
Everybody's
they
trying to
were.
win the elections, Negro.
No.
David Wilcox, are you
No.
serious? Like Donald Trump's not trying to win the election? If that's your theory that we can find out who's trying to do it. And who funds Antifa? You can't fund Antifa. Trying to fund Antifa is like trying to fund Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a dispersed cellular organization. There's no one central planning community for Antifa. And by the way, and in case you're curious, the vast majority of people that you think that you've interacted with online, who you think are Antifa or representations of Antifa, are like Beverly Hills Antifa. They're another Kekistani front group. There's someone trolling or getting involved or being conspiratorial or weird, like that guy that ended up on, what did he end up on? He's like a famous troll. He ended up on CNN or something, saying that he was like the leader of Antifa. That was great. Political angle, according to David Wilcock. People ask him why he hasn't been making more videos on YouTube.
So he's saying David said who it is, but
these paid classes
Channer doesn't know who it was.
were in session, and it takes a lot out of him. He's got to make slideshows for 5-hour presentations. And then also the personal events in his life, the personal events of a guy living through historic times. That's everybody, bro.
Except for me, because I'm irrelevant.
That's literally everybody.
No, I'm irrelevant. I've got white
F1
privilege.
for you. CW is a bit naive. Antifa funding proven Obama days. You, Tom, I love you.
Oh,
douchebag. You are going to call me naive?
Mike.
You believe in the flat earth. If you don't still believe in the flat earth. And you believe that all the members of NASA were Freemasons and that meant something. Don't fucking fuck around with me. Don't fuck around with me. Tom, I love you. But in the battle of the big ass minds of the universe, you can get my shoes. Okay? If I'm casting Sherlock Holmes in the play, maybe you could be Whitlock. Who's the guy? Hangs out with him? Hangs out with Sherlock Holmes? Watson. I love you.
In my name did so.
F1 for you guys, a cheap shot off topic. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Let me keep it real. If I don't know you, if I barely know you, and you got some stuff to say, or you're a little rude or unkind, or mess with me or whatever, it's what it is, because what are you to me? You're a fucking stranger. But if I fucking talk to you on the phone, if we put in time together, and you're going to come and call me fucking naive in the live chat, that's a fucking bitch move, and I want you to apologize to me. Tom, I want you to apologize to me. It wasn't a cheap shot off topic. It was a direct shot right on point. You were rude to me in the fucking live chat for no fucking reason.
You're rude to me
okay?
for no reason.
I called you on it, and I'm saying
they're standing up to you. They're saying fuck you to you. You made fools out of these people.
Man, you know what, Tom? Later for you, bro. Later for you. I love you.
No, you don't.
New courts outside of the existing judicial system to pass judgment on things. They can cancel elections. They can set up curfews whenever they feel like.
We got curfews from people just like Tubby.
Love you, Tom. Thank you for participating in the live chat. You're awesome. Okay? Oh, so I'll make this point. The funding of Antifa was absolutely not proven. You're not going to prove it to me. You can't prove the funding of Antifa. That's like trying to prove the funding of fucking like me. You know how complex an organization like Antifa is? You know how complex this is? And what is your proof? What's your proof going to be? A fucking website? Someone online on a YouTube channel or on fucking an internet website pointing to making up a fucking graph and then saying it was George fucking Soros? Man.
These powers have nothing
you know,
to do
whatever. It's what it is. 24 minutes and 30 seconds. He said social media and lack of freedom of speech. He's talking about the David Icke thing. If you talk about certain things, you are gone, according to David Wilcock. Oh, really? Because it seems to me like the internet, Facebook, YouTube, etc., has not
This is about
made
class
Alex
cop.
Jones, David Icke, you, David Wilcock, unfamous. It's made you, it's given you careers. If you talk about certain things, you are gone. David Icke got canned because he flagrantly disregarded YouTube's terms of service. If I were you, David Wilcock, if you don't want to get banned, here's the thing: form an alternative media source, like some people are speculating you're trying to do. Like that would be a huge success. I can't wait for the David Wilcock channel to come on. It's going to be such competition for Gaia, and it's absolutely going to light a big fire underneath the rear end of YouTube and Facebook. They'll be saying, "Oh my God, David Wilcock, we should have treated you better." Because they can take away your channel with no recourse and you can't get your channel back. So this is referring to David Icke. What happened to Icke? David Icke could happen to David Wilcock. He mentions Dr. Judy. Then he mentions there was a so-called documentary film made by an individual by the name of Mickey Wills that featured a Dr. Judy Mikovits, and this video was called Plandemic. It went viral on Facebook, it went viral on YouTube, and then it was taken down. There are scholarly articles, there are journalistic articles talking about the movie Plandemic and why it's disinformation and why it was taken down. It turns out actually that Dr. Judy Mikovits has been discredited and, has lost her license and, thought that, chronic fatigue syndrome was caused by a particular virus. She couldn't prove her studies. It is what it is. There's a great article by The Guardian. We might go into that at length later on, but it's a little bit off topic tonight. But 28 minutes and 58 seconds. He goes, this movie featuring Dr. Stephen Duran with a donation of $2.99. My chats ain't showing. Happens a lot. Don't know what to tell you. Apparently it shows up. I read it, so I can see you. Anyway, the video Plandemic was taken off of the internet. He's going to be taken off of YouTube and Facebook. David Icke, David Wilcock are going to infer that is censorship, and I've pointed out time and time again that until the laws change, until there's an act of legislation, or until case law interprets things differently, the YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter are not considered common carriers. That is to say that they are free from libel or liability. They're free from liability for censoring and not letting certain information appear on their channels. If you don't like that, you can form your own website and hope that it's a competition for YouTube, like Carrie Cassidy over at Project Camelot is trying to do. Good luck with that. Then they point out that when the video Plandemic was pulled, all of a sudden they saw a staggering number of hate videos against the maker of the movie and his wife. David Wilcock and Elizabeth Wilcock apparently met at a premiere or at the house of Mickey Willis. So it goes to show you where these guys, run together. The video was being censored. There were all these checked marked channels, according to David Wilcock, disguised as independent channels, mass dissing the first video, Plandemic. And I just want to say, how do you know and establish that a checkmarked channel was disguised as an independent channel? And what does it mean to be checkmarked? Now you're saying that it's bad to be checkmarked.
Checkmark is a verified channel. My verification was stolen. Tag it.
I think yes. So what does that mean? Was the checkmark a sign of being bad?
No.
I didn't hide Tom. So
approved as an independent channel by YouTube, you jackass.
Then there's then there's gang stalking comparisons according to Elizabeth Wilcox.
Oh, I've been gang
people are not aware of this. It's okay. It's Plandemic.
Plandemic.
Then they bring on their friend.
It was an attempted assassination of my character and my body, and my financial ability, and my right to live in my home.
Then Damon Brinkley gets very excited and starts talking about SpaceX, the SpaceX launch by Elon Musk. And he goes, for a car company to be involved in this, for them to launch this rocket and to dock at the International Space Station and have some of their crew stay there, and then to successfully land the vehicle back on Earth. on a floating platform. He goes, this is a revolution in the space program and space exploration.
No,
then
this
he
is the
goes on to say
revolution of the
there's a-
earth, you dimrod.
The riots are a conspiracy to divide Americans.
Fucking idiot.
Then he points out, he repeats that the SpaceX launch was revolutionary. And that's apparently untrue. Revolutionary is something new that happened. Rockets launching human beings into space happens all the
Since
time.
I came online,
Okay.
it's
So,
revolutionary.
and there's an international space station there, meaning that people have gone
That's
there
why you guys had to shut me up.
before. So for this guy, David Brinkley, to say that it's revolutionary, he might be impressed by it. He might think that it's
He's a real journalist,
but,
David Brinkley.
It's not.
You talk about
it's
him
not
like
that
he's
it's
a
not
schmo.
interesting. I mean, it's the first rocket of people taken off from NASA in 10 years. So that's interesting, but it's not revolutionary. You know what I mean? It's not
That's
revolutionary.
because
It's
you're
like your new
focusing on the
website's not
wrong point, as
revolutionary.
always.
Your new website might be a
You want to
success.
sweep it
but,
all under the rug and wash the blood off
you
your
know,
hands
It is what it is.
and wash the
David
fucking
Wilcock goes on
case
to
of whatever
mention
BD
the
you got
platforming
off
of
your
David Icke,
dick.
though he disagreed with some of Ike's position. He doesn't think that's good. What happened
Suck
to
that
him?
extra fat
He
out
cites his
too while
alley
you're
work,
at it.
doesn't
It's all
matter.
in your brain.
Rando conspiracy theories thrown out by David Wilcock, like the cop may have been an agent. The victim of the police violence didn't die. David
about me
Wilcox
being
dismisses these and says we shouldn't engage
you
in
guys'
random conspiracy
target.
theory. But then he says that groups will try to exploit the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He then leaves by saying that we're talking about the 2012 Olympics opening ceremony. 48
No, we're
minutes
talking
in.
about what happened.
He
in
says basically, if you look at the 2012 Olympic
that I just
opening
talked
ceremony
about.
at the 48-minute mark in,
Oh, where they punch
you
us
will
in the
see
heart and tell
stuff
us to
that
go to
will blow your
hell?
mind. So I stopped his video and I went over to the 2012 Olympics opening ceremony.
I bet you
Went
did.
to 46 minutes to make sure I wouldn't miss anything. And what you saw was doctor and nurses, people dressed up like 1900s doctors and nurses, like kind of doing like a you know,
Come on,
the,
Channer,
what do they
you're
call it,
trailing
the
off.
jitterbug. And then they're dancing celebration medical dances. Then they put all these kids to bed, and some of the kids' beds are like light glowing. And then if you pull up from the aerial view, it kind of looks a little bit like the Earth. Then J.K. Rowling starts reading Peter Pan, and monsters come in, but then the monsters get scared away by Mary Poppins. And I guess what he's trying to say is that in 2012, the
Oh, you
Olympic
ought to
opening
hear your buddy
ceremony
Moose's
involved a
book
big
reading.
presentation of doctors and nurses. You know, doctors and nurses. And then
hairdressers
the
and
coronavirus involved people having to listen to doctors and nurses, and nurses going
Whatever.
to bed. So that's like a conspiracy. In which case, I want to say is, are we to believe that it's conspiracy every time that a
But it's not
doctor or a nurse
conspiracy.
appears in the presentation that it's predictive programming? Like, are we just gonna
Barbers
say that
were
odds
surgeons because they worked with sharp
as a TV
blades
show
before
is
they were
mass predictive
surgeons.
programming to get people to
Get
listen
over it.
to people in COVID-19? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, that's the 42-minute
How's your
mark.
test
So I
coming
left it
along?
there, and I will resume again. I apologize. So this is what happens. This is what happens.
What, you get pissed at me?
I do sometimes get triggered by people in the live chat.
That's because you can hear
But I
what I'm
notice as a
saying.
rule the following.
You know what's going
Okay.
on.
Whenever, I think I notice this as a rule, I may be mistaken, but I'm going to throw this out there. When I
You've
tend
known
to get
about
upset,
this for
I
3
tend
years.
to find it's not because I've seen a comment by some random person.
It's by me,
It's usually a person that I
the
feel like I'm
irrelevant one,
approachable.
the one you hate,
Okay? So
the one you want
what
to have
happens
sex
there
with.
is that it's one thing to like if if I get
I don't
mugged
have
by
a
a
choice in the
stranger, or if
matter.
I get like
That's virtual
dissed
rape.
by like a rando or a stranger, or my feelings get hurt by someone who's not interconnected in my life, it's one thing. But if I feel like I know somebody and I've put in time and
But
hours
you
with
lie
them,
about everything you say.
and they do that, then it's like it hurts. Okay, so you know.
Oh. But you
I
love to
talk,
give
if
pain.
people go on my own videos,
But you
they'll see
can't-
that I talk
you
with
can't
Tom
take the
all
truth.
time. I rap with him, I bullshit with him, whatever.
Yeah, bullshit. All the
To
time.
come out your face and call me naive
You are. You're a
about
moron.
something is coarsely insulting.
You're
And then
an
to come back with a
arrogant,
non-apology
pompous fucktard.
and said that I was triggered on the low. You know what I mean?
You were
I
triggered
want to
on
unleash,
me
okay? Because
since
Tom,
2016 publicly. You need to focus,
You know,
Channer.
you know, this guy emails me.
Then they're not gonna
He's
be able to
called me.
eat
He,
because
The
I,
network
chains
knows
are
about
going to be
all of
damaged
this.
as a result of peak oil. Fossil
The
fuels
third-party
are providing
evaluators.
food in the way that we were able to do so in the past. Industrial agriculture is failing. So in the
Your real
post-peak world,
government,
we
the
need
one
to
that
be
wants things to be
exploring
okay.
new forms of social organization that allow
Yeah, you're a
communities
traitor.
to open up access to land, to resources.
It's
to
embarrassing.
economies.
I get it.
And
You didn't want to
certainly,
get
we
caught.
need to have a dialogue
you know what I
about
mean?
how
It's
this
just, it
Well, I
fucking
didn't want to
pisses me off.
die
Like,
for
I don't
you.
know, like, what happens
I
when
didn't
people
want to be
think
your
that they can just talk to me
sacrifice.
any which fucking way.
I go out on my own
You know?
terms.
It's nuts.
No, you're nuts. Mentally
It's
ill
just fucking
and
nuts to me
angry and
sometimes.
in pain. And I'm sick
So I'll
of
tell you
you.
what, the only thing that I'm in control of,
bringing
Is I'm in
any
control
pain
of my
into my
boundaries. So I'll tell
life
you
and
what.
my family's life.
I'll tell you what.
You have invested
If people
your
fuck with
time
me enough
into
times,
hating me
if enough
into
people cause me to be
non-existence.
totally distracted enough times, then that motherfucker's gonna end up blocked.
Oh, you're gonna
You're just
get
gonna be
locked,
cut the fuck out of my
motherfucker.
life.
Fuck off.
Okay? You're just gonna
Fuck
be cut
you.
the fuck out my life.
CW Chanter, you whore.
Because you don't need me that much, and I don't need you that much.
I never needed you.
Spooky says CW. He
I
said
never
sorry, bro.
wanted you. I never asked for you. Deal with that. Deal with that, motherfucker.
Okay.
You invited me on
Then
your
we're cool.
stupid damn
If you
panel.
apologize, you're cool.
Spirituality
Back to
and
the
politics. I
And this
did
is
not
the first time
apologize
I've
to
ever
you.
danced, and it won't be probably the fucking last. So
You
I'm sorry.
No,
So,
you need to apologize
No, okay,
to
I'm
your
sorry.
subscribers for lying to
We're
them
all sorry.
and dragging them into
Okay.
something that they can't get
I'm
out
saying
of.
I'm sorry too. So all the now then
You're not sorry.
So I'm supposed to feel bad. As friggin' everyone's like, oh, he said he did. Cosmic Gypsy. He said sorry. Yeah, I get it.
He doesn't
said
mean
sorry.
sorry.
I'm saying I'm sorry. So now I'm saying I'm sorry. Okay? So I'm sorry.
No, you're
Tell
not.
that one for you is totally cool. I don't know that the earth ain't flat. Fuck it. I've never walked around the earth, and even
You
if
don't
I did, I
believe
don't know what the
God's
fuck that
real.
means. We're cool.
Tag it.
Fine.
You fucking
Everyone's
fat
awesome.
asshole.
Meanwhile,
Dag, you're
David
stupid.
Bucky says,
You're
on the air, said
unattractive,
apologies are
moronic, mentally deficient. You have nothing to offer
So?
anybody. You're a
BS. You know
useless
what I
eater.
mean? I'm the
You're a
innocent thing in the
motherfucking
world,
useless
and that's
eater.
100% true.
And you give
By the
people
the logic that
STDs
says
like
that
poor Kelly.
apologies are BS.
She probably
is
already
a
had one.
worldview that
I
says
don't know.
that once something bad happens, that nothing can be done to bring it back. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it does. I choose. I don't
Right?
want you in my reality.
That doesn't make any sense.
You're a dirty fucking
Divine
rapist.
Testicle says, my mom said bacon is bad for you. That might be true, but it tastes good. Anyway, here we go.
The worms don't look
That's
good
it.
though or feel
That's the
good.
presentation. What's even better,
Get
I
off
gotta
the
tell you
phone.
something. Here's the other.
Get off
This
the
is what-
fucking
what I-
phone.
This is cool. This
You're
is
on
cool.
my last nerve.
And I
buddy.
thank Tom because it actually puts it all in perspective because it gives me the opportunity to say this.
What?
David Wilcock can hang out. No. Spooky says, I'm sorry for being sorry about being sorry. Yeah, tell me about it. Take a fucking number, right? Okay. David Wilcock can have his fantastic, huge numbers, those fake numbers, all he wants to. I'm very proud to say to the audience of those people, hey, what do you think is more real? David Wilcock acting like he knows people inside the White House, or here in this community where we know each other well enough that we can recognize each other and get this bent out of shape about one line in the live chat.
Well, Wilcox
Right?
is Caster, so he does know people there. And the people there know
There you go.
Glasscock.
Folks, I love you.
No, you
It's
don't.
8:22, 8:23.
You
We got a
don't
hard
love
stop
these
at
people.
At 8:30.
Stop.
So I'll hang on the remaining 7 minutes and talk to you.
Oh,
Got
what a
7 minutes to
thrill.
wrap.
We should all be so lucky. I'm ready.
Don
Let's go with the
Crazy says
questions.
Wilcock is a painfully insecure dork.
You're
Out of
lying
mind says, I'll
about
never be sorry
the
ever.
one
Wink,
spelled
wink. And
COX.
meanwhile, out of mind, a certain podcaster on YouTube who said he was going away forever and then came back, though he didn't put my videos back up. Thank you for that. Was watching the video on Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday night?
Oh, you mean one of your
When the truck
pod
went
people
careening through the
spawns?
crowd at the protest, and then he said this guy doing hot takes of watching CNN on friggin' YouTube, whatever, watches this happen, and then says, "Oh my God, they killed that guy," saying that they stopped him, they stopped his truck, and that they killed the truck driver. He says, "Oh my God, that's one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen during this whole thing."
Yeah, it's called a script.
What actually happened was the truck appears to have accidentally gone into gear and into the crowd. And when the truck stopped, the crowd removed the driver from the truck and held him until the police arrived. So no, he was not killed. He was not beaten to death. It wasn't one of the most disturbing things you saw on the protest. And not that many people, I don't think, were hurt. Though some people were injured jumping out of the way. No one actually got hit by the truck.
For their false flag
So
scripts. Absolutely.
the takeaway is this. How complex and weird is it when we had back in the day, when we had to figure out what was truth and false from CNN and MSNBC and all the rest of the mainstream media, and we said,
look,
"Oh man,
jackass, look, here's how you knew if somebody was telling the truth or not.
It would be so
You
good.
really focus in to how your body feels when you hear the information, and then you make a conscious choice to check this stuff out. And you don't walk away from your past or forget your painful little boo-boo kitty childhood. And then you add it all up together and make your choice. You don't know when it's fake media because you're involved in promoting the hoax.
Omni Eris supports Joe Biden.
He's also the voice of David Wilcock.
So it is what it is.
No, it's
It
not.
is what it is.
You lie about what it
It is 8:26. I'm waiting out the clock.
Get off the
Let's not
phone.
get distracted. So what is the takeaway? If you don't know what the fuck you're talking
shove
about,
that
if you're
pain
just
patch up
watching
your ass.
live video like everybody else, we don't need your commentary. You don't help the
Oh,
situation
no,
at
the
all.
world does need my commentary. You guys have tried to shadow ban it.
Said it still. On a
That's
good
the
day,
free
Brian thinks
speech
he's
rights
right.
that have been
Oh man,
abused.
how can you talk crap about Biden? You're helping to win.
He was never going to run in the election.
Necessary, which
See,
is
you
the
still
attitude
don't know what's going
that
on
if
behind the scenes.
empowered means
You
that
still
we will
don't know
never
what the
get
hell's
rid of
up.
the two-party system.
Anybody
It's
talking
a
but me in here?
mentality that says that we have to support our abusers. No, I say to the Democratic National Convention, no. You will not keep on treating me like a pawn in your sick battle. I will not just kowtow.
Wait, you're the abuser.
And join your.
You're not the
your
one getting
go-ahead.
abused.
I'm going to go independent. I'm going independent this election. I am. Will I vote for Biden?
Who gives
Maybe.
a
Will I
shit?
vote for Trump?
Your vote
Definitely
never
not.
counted, fat ass.
Definitely not. But will I have any truck for anyone who tells me that I'm obligated to vote for Joe
Like
Biden?
I said, all these
to defeat
political
Trump?
labels
No,
are
that's
horseshit.
that's the real conspiracy about elections.
That's
that
the
in
real
conspiracy theory
truth.
town,
That
all
he
the
spins
woke red pill
conspiracy
people
around
used to
out
truly
of
know
anything I say.
that it was a big fix, that it was a big party,
What the
and we're
hell?
not invited. That the
No, you're
G's
not
and the
ever
R's,
invited.
the blue versus the red, was just like Coke versus
It has nothing to
Pepsi.
do with color,
The
you
false
prejudiced bitch.
illusion of choice to keep the rat going around the maze over and over and over again.
Like the squirrel on the
Fuck y'all, I'm
fence,
not going to
right?
be played by that. I'm out of the matrix. I'm not necessarily going to automatically vote for Biden, especially when you see the amount of hubris that goes
Mentally
into this
ill
guy's
people
decision
shouldn't be
making.
able to vote.
The fact that he would
faggot.
think that it was a smart thing to do to tell Charlemagne the God that if you vote for Trump, you're not black. Who are you to even?
No, here's what it
Black
is. You're
people are allowed
poking
to
the
support
truth
Trump.
of me saying that I was
And
raised
they're
like
you're
a
not
poor
allowed
black
to question
child.
their blackness, Joe Biden. Who the fuck would put this douchebag on the ticket, considering he's got talk about feet of clay? I'm telling you, I got kids. I would never let my kids within 100 feet of Joe Biden. Okay? My kids are cute. I wouldn't let them within 250 feet of Joe Biden. And if my kids were ugly, I
This is
wouldn't
what
let
I
them
do
within
under
500
the
feet of
Fair
that.
Use
That guy will
Act
touch anything.
of 1976.
This is a weirdo.
I bring all of this into
He's a
account
douchebag.
for
And
education
more than that,
and for
he
documentation
supports the credit card company.
and trying
He
to
helped
help
make it
people
that people, when they
stand
declare
up for themselves
bankruptcy,
and know what the
couldn't
real
declare
story
their credit
is
card bank
and how the code is
debts
made
in
behind the
their bankruptcy.
scenes
You know what?
and
The
what's
main
going
cause of
on
people
with the
going bankrupt
algorithm
is
and
credit
everything
card
going
debt.
on in the computer. I was the only one
He
innocent
helped them
enough
because
to
he's an
do
asshole.
the
He's a
job
white
and
douchebag
not
asshole from Delaware. And sometimes being white
misinform people
there's a
on
point
it.
in naming that in the argument. He's another fucking motherfucker. Fuck Joe Biden. The DNC thinking that they were going to shove him down the
I'd
throat
love to
at
see
the
all
last
these
minute.
guys in a room
Everybody
with
knew that
you
people
and
wanted Bernie
roasting you.
Sanders, not Hillary Clinton, and we got fucked and they put in Hillary
You'd
Clinton
be
last minute
tarred
to
and
maintain
feathered
that
in blue
hegemony and
feathers.
control. Oh, people just don't want to vote for it. Sounds like they don't care.
They'd be shooting
They don't know
peas
what
at
the
you.
majority of people in America don't know what a socialist is. They don't.
You don't
Socialists are
either.
good. Being sociable is good. They
You're
don't know
a
what socialist
fascist.
is. And
You're a
FYI, in
fascist
case you're
pig.
curious, look at these riots and understand that black people,
You're a
Latin
fucking
people, Asian
Nazi
people
sympathizer.
don't have an instinctive, bred into them hatred for the term socialism.
I
or
don't hate
communism.
anybody.
Don't worry.
That's what's wrong with these people.
I like
Y'all
this
hate
way
too many
more.
things.
Milwaukee is the only city in America to elect a socialist mayor twice.
It's a
The
twin
Indians named
city.
this place
Tag it.
Milwaukee. You know what it means?
Like Trump's a
The
Gemini.
good land.
He don't know which guy's talking. You ever feel like that, Channer?
Alice
You're a
Cooper, now
Leo.
born-again Christian,
You
just
think
like
you
Black
know
people
who's
Lawless,
talking.
David Mustaine,
You think
David
you're the
Ellison from
lion
Megadeth.
of the Badlands.
What's going on in the world?
I mean, you're the
Okay.
Aleister Crowley of the 21st
Michelle
century.
Humphrey says, you really are not going to make a good Democrat with that race realism. I know. I listen, and I say things,
But he
and
says
I say
he's a
things that are
Democrat.
controversial.
What's
I'll
going
never vote for
on?
president. Believe you me, I've been CW chanter on the internet for coming on 5 years. I'm not being elected to anything, right?
You came
I'm
to
waiting to get
destroy
canceled.
my
You know
future.
what I mean? I'm just waiting to be canceled. I keep on asking for it.
Oh, I wish they
Meanwhile,
would.
my social blade score is so low that if I got hashtag canceled, my social
But your
media
views are up.
credentials would actually go up.
But they're already going up.
Technically, it would be a career
That
move.
shows all the assholes following you
That's what I
around.
said. Anyway, but I love you.
Get off the phone. Fucking punk.
No, so Phil Blair says, because my state.
Why don't you read what he said? You don't have enough time, or he's not valuable enough.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe.
He gives
This is
you
the last
money.
thing
He
we're
sucks
talking
your
about.
dick. He's there to serve your every
Phil
fantasy.
Blair says, because my state.
Read
Because my
it.
state hasn't gone red in decades, I will vote for Trump if Harris is the VP nominee at CW Chanter, just so it shows up in the numbers. Biden's crime bill is part of the racist drug war.
Oh, you
Agreed.
mean the algorithm
But
you guys
Phil
try
Blair,
to control?
can I make an argument for an alternative?
That's why Philip's a
Don't
punk.
vote for Trump. Don't vote for Trump. You don't have
There's
to
not
do
going
the
to be
lesser
any
of two
election.
evils.
You're
don't
not
have
even
fuck
going to have the
Biden by
right to
voting
vote.
for Trump. You know what you should do? Vote for Donald Duck or Frank Zappa. Pac-Man turned 40.
Right,
in
waste your
2020.
vote.
If you're thinking of
That's why they
alternative
said the
names
independents
to
couldn't get it.
write
It was
in,
a waste of a
how about
vote.
Pac-Man? Waka Waka. How about Fozzie Bear?
How about video game
How
hell?
about Kermit the Frog? He's due for a win.
No,
Hey,
you
Kelly,
are
let me
a
ask you one
toad.
joke before we end.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for this one?
When you
Okay.
channeled it, remember?
What did Kermit the Frog say when he heard that Jim Henson had died?
What did he say?
Chanter can barely
There you
contain
go.
himself.
I
He
love
thinks
you, I
he's
love
so
you, I love
funny.
you. If no one told they loved you today, somebody just did. Let somebody
Right.
be chanter in.
Kelly.
We love you. Kelly,
Kelly
thank you.
Farmer's
Can we run the thing as a closer?
You're the mouse.
Okay,
mean,
we're gonna
that's
run this thing as a
terrible.
closer.
Get a
This is
case
good.
from a fucking short-dicked fucking fat ass.
I'll vamp.
You couldn't
I
satisfy
apologize for
a woman if you tried,
F1 for
Tubby.
you again.
Okay.
It's muted.
I'm gonna unmute it.
Okay.
How many
Love you.
weirdos does it
Peace.
take to
Like,
screw
comment,
in
and
a
subscribe.
video?
Help me in the algorithm. No one else will.
You know, they used to make the joke about the light bulb. How many Whoever's does it take to screw in a light bulb? Usually it was a Polish joke, but I don't like jokes. This is how many jokers does it take to screw in a bullshit video that's illegal? And that's why I say this is not his content. This is him trying to hurt me. And if people can't see it, then they're blind. All right, I'm out again. Pieces.